For many years, bears were seen as animals that lived separately and avoided humans.
Yeah, get up there! Get up!
But as the boundary between forests and residential areas gradually blurred, encounters began to occur more frequently. These were no longer brief sightings, but direct approaches along trails, forest edges, and even near homes. The issue is not only the presence of bears, but how each encounter is handled by people. Bears do not move randomly, but respond to familiar signals such as scent, sound, and spatial memory. An area handled without control can become a reference point in their behavior. When an individual approaches humans without resistance, the likelihood of returning becomes almost certain. If this pattern is not stopped early, the level of risk increases with each repetition. After confirming the area, control teams deploy traps that match the level of risk. Among them, foothold traps are designed to secure the front limb without causing serious injury. Their curved structure and pressure-limiting mechanism help ensure safety during restraint. These devices are only placed at verified locations and are always paired with remote monitoring to prevent errors. When the target steps into position, the mechanism activates immediately, forcing it to stop moving. A signal is sent to the control center, and the rapid response team arrives on site without delay. The captured individual is sedated under controlled procedures and quickly removed from the area. The entire process is kept short, minimizing noise and leaving no traces that disturb the environment. If handled carelessly, a trap site can become a memory point in a bear's perception. But when done correctly, it leaves no noticeable signal behind. No reward, no clear danger, just a gap that prevents the behavior from being reinforced. This is the key factor in stopping future returns. In areas near residential zones, control protocols are even stricter. There are no gatherings, no spread of alarming images, and no individual left restrained on site for long periods. The goal is not only to resolve the current situation, but to ensure the location does not become a point of confrontation between humans and wildlife. Captured individuals are transferred to specialized facilities for behavioral and risk assessment. Depending on the results, they may be relocated to suitable habitats or managed under specific plans. Most importantly, they are not returned to the original location, where habits of approaching humans could form again. In reality, bear intrusions into residential areas are increasing. They do not just search for food in trash bins, but also break doors, enter homes, and cause property damage. Many areas have recorded hundreds of incidents within a short time, forcing some businesses to temporarily close due to repeated losses. Although preventive measures such as bear-resistant bins and limiting outdoor food sources have been applied, the situation is still not fully controlled. Some regions allow licensed hunters to participate in population control, but this approach carries risks and is strictly regulated. In the end, success is not measured by how many traps are set or how many individuals are captured, but by whether dangerous behavior stops. When the chain of approach is broken, the environment gradually returns to stability, and people no longer live in constant alert. If you find this useful, leave a comment and follow for more effective control strategies ahead.
Initial visits usually happen quietly. The bear simply walks along the fence, sniffing around the area and testing a few objects that seem easy to open. If it manages to find food without encountering resistance, another return visit is almost certain. Over time, this behavior gradually turns into a habit. The path from the forest to the farm is repeated so many times that it almost becomes a familiar feeding route. What is concerning is that bears do not need to destroy everything immediately. They can patiently observe and test things little by little. A slightly loose storage door, a trash bin that is not properly secured, or the smell of food drifting from the livestock area can all become an invisible invitation to them. When these weaknesses exist, the bear will return more frequently and move closer and closer to areas where people live. At some point, the distance between the two sides may shrink to only a few meters. A farmer steps outside at night, the light suddenly turns on, and the bear is already standing right there. In situations like this, even a small wrong movement can make the animal feel threatened. And when a bear attacks to defend itself, its enormous strength can make the encounter extremely dangerous. That is when management measures must be implemented seriously. Bear traps are not used as a reckless reaction, but as part of a carefully studied control system. Their purpose is to stop the repeating pattern of visits before the situation becomes more dangerous. Before setting traps, managers usually spend time observing very carefully. They track footprints on the ground, claw marks on tree trunks, and footage from infrared cameras at night. This information helps identify the bear's usual movement routes. Only after understanding how the animal moves and when it appears do they decide where the trap should be placed. One of the most commonly used devices is the large steel cage trap. Its structure is designed wide enough for the bear to walk inside naturally. The thick metal frame ensures stability when the animal moves within the trap. Bait is usually placed at the far end of the cage, forcing the bear to step completely inside before the door mechanism is triggered. In some regions, specialized foothold devices are also used under strict wildlife management regulations. These tools are designed to hold the animal in place without causing serious harm. Once the trap is triggered, management teams quickly approach to handle the situation according to prepared procedures. However, trapping is only one part of the overall strategy. Farms often need to change how the surrounding environment is managed. Trash containers are secured with metal lids, food storage areas are reinforced, and electric fences are installed in some places to prevent wildlife from entering. When easy food sources disappear, farms become far less attractive to bears. In many cases, simply removing these attractants is enough to encourage wildlife to return to their natural habitats. But if a bear has already formed the habit of returning repeatedly, intervention through trapping may become necessary to restore balance. Life on the edges of the forest has always been closely tied to the presence of wildlife. Farmers do not seek to confront nature, but they must learn how to protect what they have built. The balance between humans and wildlife is sometimes maintained only through timely decisions and careful management. If you want to explore more real stories from farms surrounded by vast natural landscapes, be sure to follow the channel so you don't miss upcoming videos about wildlife management and sustainable rural life.
For many years, bears were seen as symbols of deep forests, places humans only pass through. But as the boundary between settlements and nature narrows, bears now appear more often. They move along forest edges, cross fields, and search trash bins behind storage sheds. As the damage repeated, wildlife managers realized this had become a familiar route between the forest and nearby homes. Infrared cameras placed along the forest edge quickly confirmed it. Each night, they recorded the same time window and the same path. The bear seemed to memorize the trails and narrow gaps between the forest and nearby houses. The concern was not a single encounter, but the shrinking safety distance as they returned and gradually moved closer to people. In situations like this, rushed reactions rarely work. Chasing a bear can make it more cautious and push it toward routes that are harder to control. Because of that, management teams focus on guiding behavior instead of direct confrontation. The area is divided into several control layers using data from tracks, cameras, and activity signs to identify the paths bears most often use. The operation does not begin with noise or aggressive chasing, but with calculated silence along the forest edge, where narrow trails cross through brush and slopes. At key intersections, large cage traps are placed discreetly, blending into the natural landscape. Bait is set deep inside, forcing the animal to step fully into the control zone before the trigger activates. These traps function like invisible checkpoints. When a bear approaches and triggers the drop door mechanism, a signal is immediately sent to the monitoring center. There is no loud noise or panic, but the signal confirms the animal's behavior was predicted correctly. Its arrival is no longer a surprise, but part of a prepared plan. This allows the management team to stay in control rather than reacting afterward. The high and lower areas, near water sources or waste points, where bears often leave the main path to search for food. Secondary traps are placed to slow movement. These locations act as intermediate control layers, keeping the animal within the monitored zone and preventing it from moving deeper into residential areas. The goal is not to solve everything in one night, but to reduce immediate pressure. Closest to the residential boundary is the final control layer. Here, equipment is deployed remotely and monitored closely with cameras and motion sensors. A smart cage trap sits at a central but discreet location. When the bear approaches, it often pauses briefly, smelling the air before continuing along its usual route. That calm behavior shows the system is guiding it toward the prepared control area. In many cases, the outer trap layer activates first, slowing the animal and forcing it to adjust direction. This gradually guides it into the main control zone. Without that initial layer, the distance from forest edge to neighborhood fence could shrink in minutes. The multi-layer system reduces risk and gives response teams time to prepare the next step. Once a trap is triggered, the handling phase becomes critical. The surrounding area is temporarily secured, and a rapid response team approaches carefully to avoid agitating the animal. Sedation and transport follow veterinary standards to ensure safety for both people and wildlife. In many cases, the bear is also fitted with a tracking tag before relocation. It is important to understand that traps are only one part of a broader wildlife management strategy. When used correctly, they are not symbols of confrontation, but tools that help maintain balance. If you found this useful, follow the channel to explore more stories about safe and sustainable wildlife management.
In recent years, the appearance of black bears around residential areas is no longer a rare occurrence. Security cameras not only capture fleeting silhouettes in the night, but also reveal purposeful movement. Heading straight toward trash bins, food storage areas, or livestock enclosures. This is not a moment of curiosity. It is a sign of behavioral change, as bears begin to treat human areas as an extension of their foraging territory. And once this habit forms, controlling it becomes significantly more difficult. Unlike many other species, bears do not move randomly. They have excellent memory. A readily accessible food source can cause them to return to the exact same location repeatedly for weeks, even months. Large footprints pressed into damp soil, scratched tree trunks, or overturned trash bins are not just traces, they are a behavioral map. And to control effectively, the first step is not setting traps, but accurately reading that map. At a forest edge location, after weeks of monitoring with infrared cameras, a movement pattern began to emerge clearly. A large bear consistently appeared around 1 a.m., moving along the fence behind the farm and stopping at a fixed point where leftover food had once been found. There was no rush, no panic. Every movement was slow but precise, as if it had memorized the route. Instead of reacting immediately, the control team chose to extend the observation phase. They did not set traps right away. Instead, they established a stable bait station. Using strong-smelling attractants such as mixed grains, pastries, and sugar-based products. The scent spread through the air, but not abruptly enough to trigger suspicion. Over the course of 2 weeks, this location remained unchanged. The goal was not rapid attraction, but familiarity. Once the appearance frequency became consistent, the next step began. A steel tube trap system was installed flush with the ground, covered with soil and dry leaves to blend into the surrounding environment. The trap opening was designed just large enough for the bear to insert its paw, with bait placed deep inside to force further interaction. No element in the structure was allowed to create a sense of abnormality. When the bear approached and inserted its paw deeper to reach the bait, the internal mechanism was triggered. There was no loud noise, no chaos, just a controlled movement sufficient to hold the front paw in place, preventing immediate withdrawal. The system was designed to remain stable, causing no serious harm, but sufficient to control the situation. Immediately afterward, the response team arrived. The entire subsequent process was carried out according to standard procedures. Sedation under expert supervision, health assessment, and transport to an appropriate location for further handling in compliance with regulations. There was no haste, no confrontation. Everything unfolded as part of a pre-planned process. What is noteworthy is not the trap itself, but how it is used. If placed in the wrong location at the wrong time or without proper observation, the entire system becomes meaningless. Bears are not easily deceived. A single sign of abnormality can cause them to change routes and disappear for weeks. In the context of increasing human-wildlife conflict, control methods based on behavioral understanding are becoming a more sustainable approach. It is not about elimination, but management. Not reaction, but proactivity. And sometimes success does not come from acting the fastest, but from acting at the right moment. If you find this content useful, leave a comment and don't forget to follow for more scientifically grounded and effective wildlife control strategies.
Over the past few years, black bears have been appearing near farms and residential areas more often than before. Many security cameras capture them slipping into feed storage, overturning trash bins, and even breaking into livestock sheds in search of easy food. For many farmers, each visit from a bear means new repair and cleanup costs. Over time, these repeated incidents have turned the conflict between people and bears into a long-term management challenge. Bear keeps returning to the same place. Concern within the community rises quickly. Residents start reinforcing storage buildings, putting up stronger fences, and changing the way they store food to reduce attraction. Even so, these solutions usually work only for a short time. Expenses remain high, and the feeling of uncertainty continues. Children, farmers, and people walking along rural paths all need to stay more alert. Because of this, wildlife authorities aim not only to reduce damage, but also to restore a sense of safety for the community. Instead of reacting immediately after every incident, management teams usually begin by collecting information. Infrared cameras and motion sensors are placed along the trails that bears often travel. These devices record the time of appearance, movement direction, and activity frequency. With this data, specialists can assess risk more accurately before taking action and prepare carefully for locations considered high-risk areas. Once the individual responsible for repeated intrusions is identified, control measures are introduced. Specialized traps are selected according to the terrain and the bear's behavior. Their purpose is to minimize injury and keep the animal in place until the rapid response team arrives. A remote monitoring system sends a signal as soon as the trap is triggered. This approach focuses on the specific bear causing the problem without affecting the wider population. In some high-risk locations, management teams use not only cage traps, but also foothold traps. These devices are designed to hold the bear's front paw with carefully controlled pressure to prevent serious injury. They are often placed along familiar routes between forests and farms. When the animal steps on the center plate, the mechanism closes and keeps it from moving farther until the control team arrives. In certain operations, trained tracking dogs also assist the process. These dogs undergo months of training to recognize scent and follow the traces of large wildlife. Their role is not to chase animals, but to help teams locate the suspected individual more precisely. When combined with camera data and field signs, tracking dogs greatly reduce the chance of unexpected encounters between people and bears. Once a trap is activated, the rapid response team quickly arrives at the site. The captured bear is sedated following veterinary procedures to ensure safety for both the animal and the people involved. Afterward, it is transported to a management facility where its behavior and level of risk are evaluated. The trapping site is also carefully cleaned, removing food odors and traces that might attract other bears. In wildlife management, success is not measured by how many traps are set, but by whether intrusions decrease. When farms can operate normally again and bears stop searching for food near homes, the control strategy is considered effective. This shows that traps are only one part of a larger system that also includes monitoring, environmental management, and rapid response point. One detail often overlooked in bear management is what happens after the intervention. If food smells or traces remain, the place can continue attracting bears. On the other hand, when the site is cleaned and restored to natural conditions, the location almost disappears from the animal's memory. Careful work from monitoring and trapping to site cleanup helps prevent dangerous behavior. From repeating in the long run. The goal of management programs is not to capture more bears, but to reduce conflict between people and wildlife. When residents can work outdoors with greater safety and bears return to the forest instead of visiting farms, the system is considered successful. If you find these methods interesting, Leave a comment to share your thoughts, and follow the channel to discover more fascinating stories from the wild.
It's just how amazing nature can be. Thanks for joining us on this
No one ever sees it arrive. But every morning, the damage is worse. In just a few nights, more than $20,000 has disappeared. Trash bins are overturned, belongings are shattered, and food storage areas are torn apart as if they never existed. Massive footprints press deep into the damp soil. No cameras are needed. It's already clear that something is returning to this place, night after night. A large black bear. And this time, it is no longer afraid. When every attempt to drive it away fails, there is no other choice but to deploy a large-scale trapping system. But the problem is, they only have one chance. In many states across the U.S., the presence of bears near residential areas is no longer rare. As natural food sources decline or as bears become accustomed to human food and waste, their behavior begins to change. They no longer avoid people, but move directly into human living spaces. What was once a clear boundary between forest and human territory has now almost disappeared. Beyond property damage, bears can also carry dangerous pathogens. Most notably, parasitic worms such as Trichinella can survive in muscle tissue and potentially spread to humans or livestock through indirect exposure. In addition, intestinal parasites and ticks carried by bears can be released into the surrounding environment. As bears forage through food sources, they unintentionally contaminate soil, water, and livestock areas. In addition, traffic accidents involving bears are becoming increasingly common. At night, when visibility is limited, a full-grown bear crossing the road unexpectedly can cause serious consequences within seconds. Their large size and slower reaction time make these collisions far more dangerous than those involving smaller animals. Unlike wild boars that move in groups, bears operate alone. This means there is only one opportunity. If it fails, the bear becomes far more cautious and nearly impossible to approach again. For this reason, every step must be executed with near-perfect precision. A large steel cage trap is set up as the primary control structure. Measuring over 3 meters in length, with thick reinforced steel bars, it is strong enough to withstand the force of a fully grown bear. The enclosed design limits the animal's ability to break out from inside. The door uses a gravity drop mechanism, slamming shut instantly upon activation with no gaps left behind. The trap is placed directly along a known travel route, where cameras have recorded the bear appearing repeatedly over several nights. Bait is positioned deep inside, forcing the bear to fully enter the trap. During the first few nights, the door is left open to build familiarity. Once the bear begins entering deeper and staying longer, the system is then activated. However, cage traps do not always work. For individuals that have previously encountered humans or escaped traps, their level of caution increases significantly. In such cases, another method is deployed: foothold traps. These traps are placed directly along travel routes, in areas where clear footprints or repeated activity have been observed. Each trap is carefully concealed with soil and dry leaves to blend into the natural surroundings. When the bear steps into position, the mechanism locks instantly. A strong cable system is anchored to a tree or steel stake, holding the animal in place. Unlike cage traps that rely on bait, foothold traps rely entirely on movement patterns. This makes them highly effective for dealing with difficult individuals, those that have learned to avoid larger traps. However, this method requires constant monitoring and rapid response to ensure safety. And eventually, everything reaches its conclusion. When behavior is correctly understood, locations are precisely chosen, and timing is tightly controlled, management shifts from reacting to damage to taking control. No more nightly returns. No more silent losses building over time. If you found this useful, leave a comment and don't forget to follow for more effective wildlife control strategies in the next videos.
This is no longer a series of isolated incidents happening at night. Tilted trash bins and bent fences are only surface signs of a movement pattern repeating in a structured way. Bears are not appearing randomly. They are entering the area from multiple directions, as if they have memorized every trail and gap between the forest and the residential zone. Each night, infrared cameras record the same hour and the same movement trajectory. The greatest concern is not a single encounter, but the fact that the safety distance is being reduced step by step. A rushed reaction at this moment will not solve the problem. On the contrary, it may make the target individual more cautious, forcing it to change routes and approach residential areas from angles that are harder to control. Therefore, instead of chasing or applying direct pressure, we choose a different strategy. The area is divided into control layers. Bear movement paths are clearly identified. And specialized traps are assigned to handle the highest risk part, instead of people. The operation does not begin with noise. It begins with calculated silence. Along the forest edge, where trails weave through bushes and slopes, large cage traps are placed at key intersections. They are discreet and do not disturb the surrounding environment. Bait is positioned deep inside, requiring the animal to step fully into the control zone before the mechanism is triggered. These traps function like invisible checkpoints. When an individual approaches and activates the drop door, a signal is sent to the monitoring center. There is no loud noise, no widespread panic. But that signal confirms one crucial fact: the behavior was accurately predicted. The appearance is no longer a surprise. It follows a prepared scenario. In low areas near water sources or temporary waste sites, where bears tend to leave the main route to search for quick food, secondary traps are arranged to slow and hold the individual in place. Our task is not to resolve everything in a single night, but to reduce immediate pressure and prevent deeper intrusion into human living spaces. Closest to residential zones, everything is arranged remotely and under strict control. A smart cage trap is positioned at the center, discreet but strategically critical. This is the final control layer before bear movement reaches the backyards of families. Cameras and motion sensors continuously monitor even the smallest signal. It pauses for a few seconds, sniffs the air, then continues along its familiar path. No panic, no sudden change of direction. That calm behavior is the signal that the control system is operating with precise accuracy. The outer layer trap is triggered first, slowing the advance. The individual is forced to shift direction, moving closer to the prepared zone. Without this early control layer, the distance from the forest edge to residential fences could be reduced within minutes. At this stage, the trap is no longer merely a technical device. It becomes the final protective barrier for the community. The rapid response team is deployed immediately after confirmation is received. Sedation and transport procedures follow veterinary standards and are carried out as quickly as possible. The area is cleaned, bait scent is removed, and all equipment is dismantled right after completion. In bear management, sustainable solutions do not come from reacting after each appearance. They come from predicting the right route, controlling the right contact point, and intervening at the right moment. When technology is used with planning, it does not only protect property or crops. It protects the essential safety distance between humans and nature. If you are interested in safe and responsible wildlife management methods, follow the channel to continue accompanying us in upcoming stories.
Hey, bear. Hey.
When the autumn winds begin to carry a chill, the forest slowly transforms from lush green to shades of yellow and orange, and those living along the forest edge enter a challenging period. This is the time when natural food sources in the forest begin to run scarce. Wild fruits, nuts, and insects gradually diminish, forcing large animals to travel farther in search of food. For people living near the forest, these signs are nothing new. They are accustomed to seeing overturned trash bins, twisted wooden fences, or large bear tracks imprinted on damp ground. These traces appear suddenly, sometimes a deep footprint, other times freshly dug soil, an ordinary sight that nonetheless conceals potential danger. However, it is only when a bear returns repeatedly that the situation truly becomes serious. Bears have excellent memory, and once they discover an easy food source, they will return to it. An unsecured trash bin, an unfenced fruit garden, or a poorly protected feed storage area can all become targets for bears. If these return visits turn into a habit, the area may become part of the bear's regular foraging route. Once a bear has chosen the area as a frequent stop, wildlife management teams begin receiving calls to intervene. After several days of monitoring, experts can determine the bear's movement patterns. Typically, bears travel from the forest into human-inhabited areas along familiar paths. Experts then assess the situation and deploy effective trapping methods. One common method is the use of large steel cage traps. These traps feature automatic drop doors and sturdy steel frames, with bait placed inside to attract bears, such as ripe fruit, honey, or fermented grains. The strong scent of these baits can travel long distances, drawing bears from afar. However, for a trap to be effective, choosing the right placement is crucial. If the trap is not positioned correctly, the bear may detect something unusual and avoid it. Therefore, experts often place traps along routes that bears have frequently used, ensuring the trap remains stable when the animal enters. In some situations, steel foothold traps are also used to temporarily control the animal. These traps use a metal loop with moderate pressure, strong enough to hold the bear without causing serious injury. These traps are usually buried beneath the ground and covered with dry leaves, allowing them to blend seamlessly into the surrounding environment. When the bear steps on the correct spot, the trap's spring mechanism is triggered and holds the animal in place. Experts then monitor the situation through cameras to confirm activation. Depending on the situation, wildlife teams may use safe sedation methods before proceeding with further handling. Once the bear is under control, experts will check its health and attach tracking devices if necessary. These devices help collect data on the bear's behavior, allowing predictions about whether it will return to the area in the future. For communities living along the forest edge, these trapping systems and wildlife management processes not only protect property, but also maintain the balance between humans and nature. These methods safeguard crops, assets, and even human lives, while still ensuring the safety and respect for wildlife. And each time autumn returns, as the air turns crisp and the leaves change, bear tracks appear once again. But with careful preparation and years of accumulated experience, the people here have learned how to face such situations, calmly, scientifically, and always in harmony with nature.